Draftmas Eve, Bucs fans. It is the day before the NFL draft. Moment you've been waiting for to see what this Buccaneers team does to improve their chances at a Super Bowl for next season. I can't wait. Finished all of my draft series previews. We'll go down my best fits in each round for each position group. We'll go through each one of those today. We'll get a mock draft in. We'll see where Josh Capo, our special guest, he's running a little bit late, but we'll get him in here. See where his mind is at, what he's thinking for the Bucs in round one. We'll probably have some back and forth and differences on what we feel, but that's all part of the show. So I want to thank you guys again for tuning in to the Pirate Parlay podcast here on the Sick Podcast Network. I'm JC Allen, your host, and I'll see you on the other side.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to the Sick Podcast. Pirate Parlay.
Battle intercepted, picked off in the end zone. Bucs are going to beat the Chiefs. We're the champions of the world.
The sickest Tampa Bay Buccaneers podcast. It's going to be sick.
What's going on back on the other side? Again, appreciate you guys for joining me for another edition of the Pirate Parlay podcast here on the Sick Podcast Network. I'm JC Allen. Appreciate everyone who's here. Like, subscribe, turn on notifications. If you're watching on Twitter, pop over to YouTube. Links on my Twitter page. Hop over here, like, subscribe, turn on notifications. And anyone who's listening in podcast form after this, appreciate you guys very much. But come check us out live. We're here every Wednesday at 7 o'clock. So, with that being said, let's jump into some Bucs talk because there has been today is the big one and only mock draft. People guys are all putting out their mock drafts. Peter Schrager, Ari Mirov, Chris Collinsworth, Bucky Brooks, so on down the line. They're putting out their final mock drafts. I'll have my final mock draft out early tomorrow morning. It'll be ready first thing in the morning. So you'll see where I think they're going to go. This is not one of my get to know the prospects. This is my predictive mock where I think the Bucs could potentially take some of these players. They're all going to be players who I have singled out in my preview series as potential Bucs fits. I think you guys will like it. It's a little unconventional. There's a position that I did not address that some fans might be like, yeah, I don't think so. I'm not going to give it away. You can try to guess. But I think you guys will like it. It fills an immediate need. It fills future needs, and then allows them to kind of reset, see where some people are at this season. And then if they still need to address certain positions, they can go out and they can do that in next year's draft free agency, however they want to do it. I don't know. We'll see how that all unfolds. But I hope you guys like it. I hope you guys like the preview series as well. We'll get into that. We'll go position by position with Josh and kind of just run through them, have him pick out one or two that he's likes or disagrees with me on. And then, of course, we'll round this off with a mock draft. Our final one, again, all you guys in the comments, feel free to ask any questions. You have any thoughts? I know there's been a lot of buzz going on today. Maxwell Harrison, is there smoke or is there fire there with the Bucs? Jihad Campbell, Jeremy Fowler said his floor is 19. Other information, Tony Pauline, who's a draft insider, he said he could fall into the second round. I will say I know those medical concerns are real with him. Could the Bucs surprise and go wide receiver? Tet McMillan was the one selected by Peter Schrager in his mock today. So is that a possibility? I would love Tet McMillan. I know some people don't think it's a need, but you don't always draft for the now. You also draft for the future. And I think he'd be a phenomenal pick if he's there at 19. I don't think he gets there. No way. But that's what's so cool about this draft. It's so unpredictable. No one really knows what's going to happen. Even the first three picks, the number one is Cam Ward. After that, all hell breaks loose. I guess the Cleveland Browns and the Giants are trying to trade out of this. Other teams are trying to trade up. Broncos are trying to trade up. Bills are trying to, Rams are trying to trade up for one of these tight ends. Bears are trying to trade up for Genty. There's all sorts of rumors speculating. It's just going to be completely crazy how this thing's go. Last year, was one of those drafts where there's so many offensive players taken that the defensive players slid down the board. This year, it's going to be a hodgepodge mix of these guys. Some players might push more down the board. It's going to be interesting. I'm sick of talking about it. I can't wait for tomorrow. The Bucs don't pick till around like 10:20, 10:15. Between 10:15 and 10:30, they'll make their selection if they stay there and don't move up or move back. But so we have that to look forward to tomorrow. Chris Collinsworth came out with his mock draft. He went Malachi Starks. Again, I feel like Malachi Starks fits this team, or a guy like Jahdae Barron. Yeah, Max, I don't think Jahdae Barron and Malachi Starks, I think, fits this team what they need now, right? You have Tyke Smith. You're moving him back to safety. Is he staying at nickel? I'm not sure how that all shakes out yet, and I think a lot of it will depend on the draft. I know there are a lot of good free agent safeties still available, so if they don't land in nickel corner, if they don't land a safety in this draft, they could say, hey, Tyke, you're going back to this, or have some sort of rotation when he moves down in the slot. They send one of the safeties in, one of the big guys off. It's going to be interesting to see how they figure all that out and which direction they go in this draft. But I like Malachi Starks because he can play safety. He can play nickel. He can play strong and free. And, I've heard that the team also likes him a little bit, potentially at outside cornerback. So he brings all that versatility, and really the communication between him and Tyke Smith is already there, and it really allows you to take Antoine Winfield, Tyke Smith, and Malachi Starks and put them anywhere. Like, if you're a team and you see that three-headed monster back there, because you're not going to make many big plays on this team, that's for sure. To limit those, which is something that they've struggled with a little bit in the past, and they're also different dynamic and different in similar ways. I think he'd be an excellent pick there. Ari Mera, I've had Michael Williams, the edge rusher from Georgia. I'm not super high on him. I see the traits, but that's all I see is the traits. I heard his pro day wasn't that good. Production obviously wasn't that good. I know he was banged up a little bit last year as well, but he's just not someone I'm super high on. He's someone I think the Bucs brought in for a 30 visit. They were at his pro day. Obviously, Bowles is close to the people at Georgia. He's one of the guys I think I'd be disappointed in if the Bucs went that route. And maybe we'll talk about that when Josh, he said he's ready, but I don't see him. So Josh, if you're listening, you got to click the link, my friend, to come on. Let me try to send it to him again. But yeah, Michael Williams is probably one of the only players. I get Matthew Golden. I'm not super high on Matthew Golden, but I can see it. I see the path. I see the difference-making ability there. I wouldn't love it, but I wouldn't hate it. Same thing with Maxwell Harrison. I wouldn't love it, but I wouldn't hate it either because I can see, And again, the Bucs have said all offseason that they are ready to, they want to and need to get home with 4. If that's the case, you can maybe make a switch from more zone-based coverage. Sorry, I'm multitasking. Not very good at it. He's on it. They can make that more zone-based coverage. They played, I forget, I think it was like 67% of their snaps in zone coverage last season, and move more into that man press, which also benefits Jamel Dean a lot. Zion McCollum with his length, being able to jam guys at the line instead of more that off coverage that they play, that zone coverage that they play a lot. So, maybe that signals a shift towards that way. Trey Amos, another guy they brought in, Siobhan Ravel, another guy they brought in. Those guys are all really good press man corners. So maybe there's a philosophical switch into more of a, hey, let's make sure we get home with 4. And maybe that leads to an early pick on defensive line to keep that rotation. Jason Lights talked about waves. So maybe that leads more to a philosophical change in their coverage scheme than they've had in recent years. So it's something to keep an eye on. We'll get Josh in because he's finally graced us with his presence 10 minutes late. He's told me he'd be 10 minutes late. But Josh Capo, Pewter Report, the man behind a lot of things happening over there. Film breakdowns on wide receivers and stuff like that. He's got a co-author of their mock draft over there. On the pods. He's doing his own thing at Substack. He's everywhere. Josh, how are you doing?
I try to be. I'm everywhere, so I wasn't here on time, and so I owe you an apology. I was going to give you that apology, but then I heard you pronounce a name incorrectly, so say it with me. Savon. Sorry, don't put an H in there. All right, just don't put an H in there. Revel. Don't put an H in there. It's confusing, right? I didn't name the guy. I'm just respecting the name that he was given.
I think I can help you with this whole Pam situation.
And
Americans and their silent letters, man. Whatever. All right, so I started talking about kind of just some of the mocks that dropped. Ted McMillan was in Traeger's. Chris Collinsworth had Malachi Starks. Ari Mirov, he had Michael Williams in there. I think Bucky Brooks had either Donovan Ezaraku or Malachi Starks. It seems like this cluster of players here are really kind of what we've been talking about since you were last on the podcast last month. Is it's going to come down to some of these players. And now there's medical concerns and stuff like that with some of them. So we'll see how that all plays out. But your general consensus, if I had to say, tell me right now who the Bucs are picking. Who are they picking?
Well, I think that all of those really show you that there is a definite type that the Bucs have. They will definitely be picking a draft eligible college football player.
Yeah, that makes sense.
For me, I mean, I was probably some bias in that I just really like him a lot. But
Take
I get
your biasness out of it and just look at from hourglass perspective.
I still think it would be Ezaraku. It's why Scott and I had him in our final mock. So that would be the guy that, you know, based on who I think is going to be available and then who I think they would like. I think Ezaraku is the guy. But I do think when you're seeing all of this variation, right? We heard in the last week that they might be really high on Maxwell Hairston, right? I think Trevor Sikkema said it on the NFL Stock Exchange podcast. I believe Evan Winter had it as the final the first round pick for the Bucs in A to Z's mock for them. You see other guys with edge. You see corners. You see safeties. I think it shows that the team has done such a good job of kind of setting the roster to where there isn't a specific need. This isn't 2021 or 2020. Sorry, this isn't 2020 when you knew it was going to be a tackle, right? This isn't 2021 where you really felt like it was going to be an edge because that was the like a glaring need was that edge 3. This roster, if they don't get a linebacker in the first couple of rounds, the team, regardless of what any individual outside the organization thinks, the team feels comfortable with Levante David, Servassier Dennis, and Anthony Walker, right? If they don't take an edge in the first couple of rounds, the team feels comfortable with Hassan Reddick, Yaya Diaby, Chris Braswell, Anthony Nelson. They feel good there. Like if they don't take a corner in the first few rounds, they feel comfortable with Bryce Hall coming back from injury, backing up Jamel Dean, who they kept. And I think the one thing a lot of fans are forgetting, yes, Dean missed more time last year than he had. The chances are he's going to regress to the mean. And in this case, that would be a positive regression. Probably play more than he did last year. Is he ever going to play 17 games? I don't think anybody believes that. But between Hall and Kindle Vildor, they feel better about the depth at corner. So, and they've always felt really good about Chris Izzian, right? Like they started him as an UDFA year 1 in the nickel. So, and that's just on that side of the ball. So, you know, you could play the same game on the offensive side of the ball. It gives them a unique opportunity to take advantage of whoever they just see as the best player for the most part and be positionally agnostic, right? It's not going to be a quarterback. It's not going to be an offensive tackle. Like there are a few positions you can rule out, but there are still so many positions you can throw in there. And that's why you're seeing such a wide swath of stabs in the dark from all of these mock drafts.
Oh, swath. I like that. You can always tell when you're on a pod with John before.
I threw one out. He literally pulled the dictionary out on me because I used nonplussed.
I listened to that. You're also, it's like you came from John to me and you're like, I'm going to have to fight for whatever I want to say on these pods. I am going. But you talked about Ezaraku as your favorite guy, right?
Yeah.
I think I've been
very high,
consistently high on Ezaraku as well. Malachi Starks is someone I've been really high on just because I think it just adds such a different dynamic to the secondary, and it's really the only upgradable spot I feel like, unless one of these guys fall to you. Not a rotational wise, but like an upgradable spot. I think Malachi Starks is better than Christian Izzian. I think Tyke Smith is better than Christian Izzian. I think if you put Malachi Starks there, it raises the entire floor of that defensive backfield. I've been really high on him. Guys in the later rounds, but as far as first round prospects, Jihad Campbell, I liked him until some of this, the medical red flags popped up, but I know there's differentiating reports everywhere. I've always liked Tet, Emeka Ubuka. Hopefully I said that right for you.
You did.
Someone who I
you
really
didn't say
like.
Jihad Campbell right, but you got Ibuka right.
He's not Jihad, it's Jihad.
Jihad, yes.
Yes. Anyways, yes, I love Ubuka a lot. He reminds me of like a pre-injury Chris Godwin. He's just so good. He does so many things well. And I really would not be upset if they took him at all. But outside of that, later round picks and stuff like that, who are the prospects you hate? I said I would be really there's only a few guys that'd be disappointed if they took at 19, and Michael Williams is one of those guys. And they met with him. They were at his pro day. They had him in for our official 30 visit. What guy? Who's the guy in the first round that if they take him, you'd be like, I just don't get it. And that no guys with character issues.
I like the second way you qualified it as like, who do you? Because I didn't like when you said who do you hate. I think there are ones where I'd be like, I don't quite see the vision, or my personal eval of the player, maybe I don't agree with the vision, right? I've cooled on Starks personally. I have a tiering system that I use. So like tier 1 for me is all pro, tier 2 or guys who I think will be all pros, right? Tier 2 would be guys who I think become pro bowlers. Tier 3 is, guys who will start at least 4 years in their career. And then it's just each tier after that is starts one last year. So it's 3 years, 2 years, 1 year. And then my 7th tier is this kind of like catch-all, like special teams. You're betting on maybe a trade or upside or whatnot, but it's this amorphous seventh tier. And I've set that tiering up based off of like doing research and analysis on actual outcomes of the draft. Almost every year, 5% of the guys who are selected become an all-pro at some point in their career. Almost every year, 8% of the guys selected on top of that become a pro bowler, so on and so forth. So for me, that's kind of how my tiering is. So like Malachi Starks, he falls into like tier 2, 3, like tier 4 for me. So like that's like a 3-year starter. That's not somebody like I'm hoping they select at 19. Yeah. Another one would be Maxwell Hairston. Like I'm not very high on Hairston. So if he were the pick, I would be, I wouldn't see the vision, like just in terms of my own eval on the player. Ezeraku is really high up for me because I actually have him in that all pro tier. He's a tier 1 guy for me. Ibuka is a tier 2 guy for me. So those would be ones that I'm high on. You mentioned Michael Williams. That would be one that I'd be a little bit lower. So if you want to throw some other names at me, I can kind of tell you, yeah, I'd be in or I'd be out. But just the ones off the top of my head that I'd kind of be like, I think there would probably be better options would be Hairston, Starks, and Michael.
Yeah, I mean, we'll throw out the names that were thrown around. Tet McMillan was one of them. You already touched on Starks.
I'm not a McMillan guy. McMillan is like, I'm probably lower on Tet McMillan than maybe any other draft analyst out there. I'm trying to see where I've got him. He's wide receiver 7 for me. He's in tier 4. Like, yeah.
So crazy.
I'm not a Tet guy. Like I at the very least I would see the vision with Tet, because I think that he can play inside and outside, and so he's somebody you can kind of move around. He gives you insurance as an X if Mike Evans gets hurt, and he's your long-term replacement for Evans. That's what you're hoping for. Like that's the upside there. So I could see the vision. I just don't. I think the odds of him becoming that guy that everybody else thinks that he is right now are way lower.
All right. What about Walter Nolan?
Yeah, I know everybody loves Nolan. I'm a bit lower on him. Again, I could see the vision, but I wouldn't.
Scouting experience, and you're just trashing these guys. Your 5 years of film breakdown scouting experience. You're just trashing.
I'm not even at 5. I'm not even 5. I will be the first to point out all of my misses, and I rarely take victory laps. So,
all right, Leonardo DiCaprio, I ask you not to judge me by my winners, but by my losers, because I have so few.
Well, I have so many. So you take the analysis with a grain of salt. But for me, the high end stuff with Nolan is really, really awesome. I just question how often you're going to see that at the next level. I'm much higher on a lot of the 1 techniques in this draft than I am on the 3 techniques. I am out on Mason Graham. Nolan, I'm lower on than most. So I see the value in this defensive tackle class with getting your run stuffers to kind of set your front with and help win on first and second down.
All right, let me give you a few more, and then we'll get into my best fits, and you can rip those apart too.
Okay.
Jahdae Barron.
Yeah, I'd be in on that one.
Okay. Yeah, I like him a lot. And again, okay, so people are like, oh, he doesn't play outside. Okay, well, Tyke's moving.
Well, he does play outside. He had a
does.
lot of fantastic tape on the outside.
Right.
Does he meet what the Bucs look for on outside corners in terms of their size and length thresholds that they've typically stuck to? No, but the guy's got great tape. I've been toying with.
They've met with a lot of those guys, though, Josh. It's not just Barron
Hairston
who they met with. It's not just Hairston. It's Jacob Parrish. It's Quincy Riley. It's Kobe Bryant. Some of these guys that play outside.
It seems like they're looking for nickels, right? Like a lot of those guys you would typically say can play nickel. Barron and Hairston are kind of 2 guys where you're like, well, you know what? They got tape on the outside.
All these guys do.
There are. You're right, but some of them, it's like that's absolutely it's not
a lot of them, like
Quincy
Riley, he barely played. Kobe Bryant barely played in the slot, and that's their projection.
Right.
But so all their teams
with Hairston and with Barron, there's serious conversation saying
right.
it could probably be an outside guy. Right. With Barron, the one thing I'll kind of throw out there, I was prompted by Ollie Connolly. He talked about Barron's tape, and it's something I agreed with him on. Like some of his best reps, he's not targeted. Like you wouldn't see it in a highlight reel because he just erases the side of the field and the ball doesn't go that way. So Ollie was like, I wish somebody could create like a turn down rate. I'm working on it. I've actually kind of manually processed it. And Barron is second best so far of all the corners I've evaluated using this
who's first
process. He's 1% off of Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter's turn down rate.
We're not talking about Travis Hunter on this podcast because this is a pipe dream.
Well, but I'm just saying, like that's how good it is.
I know.
Right? Like Hunter, I don't have the number in front of me, but I want to say Hunter basically dissuaded throws from his side of the field at like a 22.5% below expected. Barron was 21.5% below expected. And in this case, below expected is good, right?
Right.
That means that the guys are throwing that side of the field less than you would expect. So I love Barron. If Barron were the pick, I would attempt to do cartwheels. I would fail.
I'd be very excited about that too. I'm high on Barron. I'll give you 2 more. One of them I had in a trade back scenario recently in my first round, still in the first round, but trade back scenario, Darius Alexander. Because if you talk to people, he's a end of the first round guy or he's a third round guy, or somewhere in between. Like there is such an extreme case scenario for him. What are your thoughts on him?
If I were to stack my board vertically, he would be like 64th. So I guess I would be more in that third round crowd. I'm not very high on him.
All right. 2 linebackers. One of them that the Bucs have been talked to about all offseason, Jihad Campbell.
Okay.
And new one, courtesy of Rondé Barber. There's always knew he was going to go early second round, but there's been some talk recently about him potentially going in the first round, and Rondé Barber on WDAE made his pick for Carson Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. So I have both of these guys in my tier 3, which is not bad. That means I think that they're like a 4-year starter. Campbell, if I were to stack my board vertically, he's still like one of the top 32 guys for me. So I would be fine with both considering the need. I'm trying to see, where do I have Swesh is like 37th for me. So
Yeah.
I could see the need, and given there's 2 positions where there's such a quick drop off that I would be okay with. I would understand, grab a quality guy, even if there's not great value versus my board stacked vertically. Linebacker is one of those positions. And yeah, I would be okay with both. I think for Schlesinger, you hope that there's a trade back opportunity there, grab a little extra draft capital, but you have to have somebody who's willing to trade up. And I don't know if I'm going to see a lot of that. I don't think we're going to see a lot of that this year.
All right. So you're good with Jihad at 19?
It's not my favorite, but I can see the path, right? Like he's not linebacker 1 on my board. Like the guy I have number 1 on my board may end up being a late day 2 or day 3 pick. And that's Chris Paul.
I like Paul a lot. I just don't know, unless this is the Kaladjikansi situation, because I don't even think they talked to him at the combine. It certainly wasn't a formal. So I think he fits perfectly. But hey, what do I know? So I left him off my fits. So I don't know. I mean, I would love it. I would really like it. 3rd round, I would really like it a lot. But I see that
fan of them, bring him on.
He's got short little T-Rex arms, but what can you do? Hopefully it doesn't come here now, because if you're watching this, which probably
I'll clip it and send it to
okay, perfect. All right, let's go through my potential draft targets and best fits here for the Bucs. We'll start at quarterback. We'll go really quick, because if they had a quarterback, I don't know what they're doing. But my first 3 rounds, I don't have a guy, because I'm just not even going to put someone there, because it'd be ridiculous for them to go there. So it starts in round 4. Dylan Gabriel's my round 4 guy. My round 5 guy is Curtis Rourke from Indiana. My round 6 guy is Brady Cook from Missouri. And my round 7 guy is Jordan McLeod from Texas State. Give me a thought or two on that particular group of players. Any of them? Do you disagree? Do you like them?
Transparently, I didn't evaluate any of them. So, no, I mean,
perfect.
I don't think that the Bucs probably draft a quarterback at all. And the thing that I've kind of been saying is, if you were to take Michael Pratt, who is the Bucs developmental quarterback, their QB3, put him into this draft, he's probably better than all the guys you just listed, right? Like he's probably seen as higher. So are any of those guys an upgrade on Pratt? Probably not. So move along.
No. Right. All right, moving along to running back. Round 1, round 2, I had none. There was a guy who I almost put in round 2. Unless they trade, even if they trade Rachaad White, I just don't see them going running back that early. It starts in round 3 for me with Cam Scatterbo out of Arizona State. Round 4 is Bashul Tutin out of Virginia Tech. Round 5, my best fit is LaQuint Allen. Had to give an Allen Loves out of Syracuse. They had a formal interview with him at the combine too. Round 6 is Jaquavius Woody Marks from USC. If they do trade Rachaad White at some point, enter Jaquavius Woody Marks, because copy, paste, repeat. He's pretty dang good. And my round 7 fit is Phil Maffa from Clemson, who of course just had some communication recently with the Buccaneers. What are your thoughts on that group of guys? Give me 1 or 2 you like. Yep. If you hate all of them, just give me your thoughts on it.
I've got Scatterbo and Tutin kind of in the same tier for me. Both of them are guys where I could see them starting for a couple of years, but then a team moves on rather quickly, trying to find something a little bit better. Tutin's got the explosive home run speed, but there are some, ball protection issues, and he's very scheme specific. And I don't think that really works to the scheme that the Bucs are moving to. I do think that he's best suited for a wide zone. So I don't know if he's a Bucs fit, if I'm being honest with you, JC, like unless they just want, just him to be a very specific package player. But
returning a package player,
you put him on the field, though. I think that you are kind of giving away what type of run scheme you're running at that point. So Scatterbo, I know everybody loves him. Like there's shades of Allstott in how he plays. I think his best asset, honestly, is as a pass catching back. I think he's one of the best pass catching backs in this draft. I just don't see the explosiveness. I don't think that the way he forces missed tackles is going to translate as well at the next level. I think you've got better tacklers who are going to wrap him up better and limit those yards after contact. And I don't think he's special in terms of his vision or ability to kind of get through the line unscathed. So I'm not a huge fan of Scatterbo like a lot of other people. I've kind of got him in that, maybe he starts for a season or two because you have no other options, and he's very meh, but he gets the job done.
All right.
Is that Eric Church on your wall there? I never noticed that.
Mr. Eric Church, Appalachian State alum. Yes.
Love it. Love it. All about it.
All right. We'll move over to the tight end position here now. Let me pull it up. First round, I have Colston Loveland.
Let's go.
That's the wrong spot. I just clicked the outside wide receivers. Colston Loveland is my first round wide receiver out of Michigan. Round 2, I'm doing this off of memory right now. Round 2 would be Mason Taylor.
Okay.
Out of LSU, I want to believe. Yes, it's LSU. I always think Miami because his dad is Jason Taylor.
Yep.
So Mason Taylor is my round 2 fit, although I don't think he'll be there. I think he comes up way early, but if they decide they want to move up, I mean, that guy, he's just a chain moving, reliable tight end, quarterback's best friend. Round 3 is Harold Fannin Jr. from Bowling Green. If they want like a dynamic move tight end who is really good after the catch. Round 4, Gunnar Helm. They had a formal visit with him at the NFL Combine. He's more of this Y tight end, but he's not great blocking in line, but he's a really good blocker when he's on the move. He needs refinement. Kind of doesn't remind me of like Cade Otton, but reminds me of what Cade Otton needed to work on when he came in. And there's an opportunity for him to develop into that. Round 5 is Jake Sprintingstool out of Clemson. Another one of these versatile weapons in the passing game. After that is Moliki Mataveo from UCLA. He's your traditional wide tight end. He's going to block. He's not going to run away from anybody down the seam. He's not going to make guys miss after the catch, but he's your Keith replacement, right? He's got good ability to kind of get into defenders, box them out, uses his hands well, works the middle of the field. And then Gavin Bartholomew is my round 7. Although I have him as my round 7, but I've found Aronde Gadsden the second after Bartholomew, and I really like Aronde Gadsden the second too. But Bartholomew's another one, smooth pass catcher, kind of versatile, can play, needs technique on, refinement on his blocking technique.
Most of the round 3 guys I didn't get to, so you are way more into the weeds on this draft, way more comprehensive than I've been able to be. Kudos to you there, but I'll go with the first 4.
You watch a lot more film than me, though, too. I just kind of take a peek at things, and then I go.
Don't denigrate your stuff, man. You're good. So, but I'll go with the first 4. So Loveland, I would love that at 19. Like, I think that he's a future Pro Bowler, complete tight end. You can do so much. I think it would allow the Bucs to go into 12 personnel a lot more. I think it would give them more of an injury hedge for if Godwin or Evans go down. You can hedge away from 11 personnel, go to more 12 personnel, and still run a lot of the same stuff that they ran last year, just from a different personnel package. And I would love the two of them together, because with Loveland, I think you could put him at the Y, and then let Cade go to being more of that move tight end, which I think is kind of his best role. Then in the second round, you had Taylor. I would rather have Fannin in the third than Taylor in the second. I have Fannin higher on my board. With Fannin, it's kind of a role reversal with Cade. Cade would still be your inline guy. Fannin would definitely be more of your move tight end. And then I
like Fannin better than. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Fannin too. Maybe I like Mason Taylor for the Bucs, for what the Bucs offense is. But if they're just looking for another reliable pass catcher to move the chains, to be someone who can step in and fill in and be Baker's best friend if there's an injury, I think Mason makes a lot of sense. But again, I don't think he'll be there in the second round, so it's a moot point.
Yep. Moot. We'll get there.
I said moot.
You said mute. You're gonna mute me if I keep it
I
up.
was gonna try. I was trying to figure it out. Before we jump over to wide receiver, Richard.
Well, I was gonna give one thought on Fannin. A lot of people
Yeah.
will look at his like RAS score, mock draftables, look at his 40 time, and be like, ooh, what I will encourage them to do is go take a look at Zebra Tracking does miles per hour and acceleration and deceleration tracking at Senior Bowl, and they publish that. As anybody can go look at it. You can Google it. He had zero issues with his speed, his burst, when you're getting him timed in pads in actual game situations. So I put a little less stock in that 40 time, a little bit more stock in the on-field athleticism, the on-field speed and burst stuff. So yeah, that's part of the reason why I'm a little bit higher on Fannin than I think most are.
Which is weird because if you look at Malachi Starks and his stuff on field, it's way better than his time, and even his top speed in the short shuttle. It did not have a great short shuttle, but it was the highest there. So interesting. It's also interesting that you talked about his 40 time versus his play speed, because this next guy in our wide receiver is the exact opposite. He ran like a demon at the combine. As we move on to perimeter wide receivers, 4.29 speed, but he does not play that fast. Talking about Matthew Golden, he's my first round pick. My first round best fit at perimeter wide receiver. Round 2 is Jaden Higgins out of Iowa State. Round 3 is Alec Aomaner from Lord of the Rings, from Stanford. He's got one of those.
Right, let me go one by one, because you rattle through this and I forget some of the guys. So Golden, I'm lower on Golden than most. If they're selecting Golden in the first, I'm assuming Egbuka is still there, and I would rather have Egbuka than Golden. Who was your second round guy?
Second round was Jaden Higgins at Iowa State.
Yeah, I'm real low on Higgins, and I'm real low on Ayomanor. So,
Really?
yeah.
Ayomanor I can see. I don't love him, but they've done a lot of diligence with him. I
think the team would love him because he blocks his ass off, and he's smart. I just don't see the separation that other analysts do. Like maybe it was just the games that I watched were some of his off games. I don't think that the hands are that awesome. So yeah, and it's very similar with Higgins. Like he's a perimeter ball winner who doesn't win perimeter very well. I mean, he tested off the charts. Yeah, he tested off the charts, but I don't think you're going to develop it, and I think he's a little too wiry. Like I don't see, if you're going to be a guy who can't separate on the perimeter, then you better be Mike Williams in a contested catch situation, and he's not. So move on.
All right, round 4. Here's a guy who I know you're really high on, Ty Felton out of Maryland.
Let's go. Yep, got him above both of the two guys you had before him.
Round 5 is Pat Bryant out of Illinois. You want to talk about a no block, no rock receiver? He's not flashy at all, but he's.
I didn't get a chance to evaluate him, so I'll trust your judgment on him.
I'll give you the rundown. Pat Bryant, versatile, no block, no rock, and classic possession receiver with big frame and strong hands. Outstanding football IQ, understanding leverage and route concepts to pair with an excellent release. A high point receiver, is excellent on contested catches and is sneaky yak guy with awareness for finding open space. But despite this, he doesn't have top end speed to run away from defenders, will struggle to separate in man coverage and get knocked off his route by physical corners. He can also be guilty of telegraphing his routes and has just average short area quickness to snap at the top of his route breaks. But he had a formal work, did some end arounds in college. Again, he's not flashy, but he's going to give you everything as a blocker. He's going to make the tough catches and move the chains, and he'd just be a good number 4 wide receiver for the Bucs.
Sounds good.
Dante Thornton Jr. is my 6th round pick out of Tennessee. Really like this guy if they want a developmental guy. And around 7 is Sam Brown Jr. from Miami. Those two guys.
Thornton's a developmental X. Like he would be an outside winner.
Yep. Both of these guys are perimeter guys. Yeah. Sam Brown, 6'2", 200. Dante Thornton Jr., 6'4", 205 pounds, 4'3", 40. Thornton has dynamic size, length, and speed for the receiver position. He can take the top off at any time. Has no issues fighting through press coverage at the line. He has elite acceleration at the top of his route and is a contested catch monster with his massive catch radius. He has surprisingly fluid hips for his size, allowing him to sink and gather on comebacks, and he has exceptional tracking skills and body control through the catch. However, Thornton Jr. has a very limited route tree that he can telegraph, of course, because he's big and runs fast. All he's doing is running go routes and is just an outside receiver at this point. He's not going to make many guys miss after the catch, inconsistent blocker. He also doesn't offer much value on special teams. Never a high volume guy in his career, but he makes the catches count. He finished his senior season with 25.4 yards per catch, 26 receptions, 661 yards, and 6 touchdowns.
I mean, the Bucs could use somebody to stretch the field and allow Evans and Godwin to kind of get more opportunities underneath, including Otten. So, I mean, if he's a field stretcher, sounds good to me.
Sam Brown's kind of a similar ilk field stretcher. I'm not going to run through his whole thing. We do have a question while I pull up the next the slot receivers. Richard Terracoa says, is there any safety that you've scouted that can be a linebacker? And if you guys have questions, drop them in. Buccaneer Bryce also says, only 12 viewers? Question mark. Y'all are underrated. Love the show, fellas. Yeah, of course.
For the guests that you get on, besides me, because I don't, definitely not me, but I mean the players that you get, the analysts that you get. I mean,
I gotta preach the choir.
Yeah, you should be more than 12 viewers because I mean, you know what? It's me. It's me. That's why you've got 12 viewers. They're like Josh Capo.
No, we're on Twitter now, and people don't want to switch off Twitter to come to YouTube. They want to watch it on Twitter. So we're bumping on Twitter right now. We got 180 people out there. Appreciate all y'all. Come to YouTube, man. 180 of you. Come over to YouTube. Like and subscribe. Turn notifications. You got me over 1,000 today.
I like it.
I just went over 6,300 followers on X. So that was pretty cool. So
on the Twitter, congratulations, buddy.
On the old Twitter. Yeah. Appreciate everybody out there. You know, I have nothing without you guys. So I definitely appreciate everything you guys do.
Well, let's get to that comment. The only guy who I think has the frame that I can think of off the top of my head would be Amon Wari. I don't know if anybody else
at all.
Yeah, but I mean, you put him at linebacker. Well, he doesn't hit.
ATH. He's going to be a linebacker eventually. He's not good.
No, I don't think.
He's an athlete. He's not a football player.
I get all that, but I don't think that he hits hard enough or he's a good enough tackler to be a linebacker.
I saw what I saw, and I'm like, I'm not even doing it. The Bucs PR, Bree and Scott, they put out their like little teaser, and they have Nick Amonwari in their teaser. I'm like, are they hearing his name in the hallways or something? Because they don't get any inside information. Nothing. Not free agents, not draft, not schedule release. They get nothing. It's like that's going to be the hardest job in the world, to be inside the facility but not get anything given to you, because it's it's integrity, really. You know, it wouldn't be fair if they're putting out all this stuff.
But they're great people, and phenomenal content. Bree's long form stuff is,
oh my god, it's the best thing I've ever written.
Should win awards. To get back to the question, no, I don't see any safeties that can move to linebacker. If anything, I think you have several linebackers in this class that could potentially move to safety, which is, I think, where some analysts believe Pooh Paul could end up being, at his best. Is
Jeffrey Bossa was a safety that went to linebacker.
He was, yeah, but
there you go.
I guess that would be the one. Boss has already done it. He's made the.
All right, let's move on to slot wide receivers. Round one, we've already talked about him earlier in the show. If you missed it, go check him out. Emeka Ibuka from Ohio State. Love this guy. Would love him. Pro ready, complete receiver, excellent football IQ. Yes, he's got shortcomings, but a lot of people have compared him to Jackson Smith-Njigba. I don't. I see it a little bit, but I don't see it. I like my comp is Chris Godwin prior to his injury.
It's a really good comp. Smart people are making that comp.
Yeah, I think so.
You're a smart person, buddy. Yeah, Egbuka is wide receiver 2 on my board. He's a top 15 player for me. I love the comp you just gave, I think. And he's somebody like, you say Godwin, right? That was your comp. And so some people might say, well, you already have Godwin. How do you get them both on the field? I think he could play the Z easily. Like, I don't think Egbuka is an X, but I definitely could see him running the Z or the F. You can you can switch the two around. You can do so much stuff with him. He understands how to set up blocks in the screen game. So
Fast
I think he's
blocker.
probably got more juice than Godwin does at this point. So you could take some of those screens that Godwin still gets and give it to somebody who maybe can break a longer one. So yeah, I would love Egbuka. You find a way to get that guy on the field, and he's going to make plays.
I agree. Second round is Jalen Knoll from Iowa State. Buck showed a lot of interest in him, formal at the combine, informal at the combine, and brought in for a 30 visit. One of these speedy slot guys with excellent ball skills.
Not a big fan.
Okay.
I think that he's kind of a smaller slot who can stretch the field from the slot, and that's not usually what the Bucs like to do with their slot receiver. He's a top 100 player for me, so second round wouldn't be great value. I think the Bucs would probably switch him to a Z and not have him play the slots. Maybe in that role, I would move him up a little bit. Yeah, I'm just not a huge fan.
Can't please everybody. Round 3 is Jack Bash from TCU. I like him a lot. He played outside cornerback. I mean, outside wide receiver in college, but he projects
He's
better.
playing corner too. We got Travis Hunter 2.0.
Travis Hunter 2.0.
Let's go.
I think he projects a little bit better in the slot. Again, has that versatility to play both. For me, my comp for him was still Chris Godwin, but recent current Chris Godwin. I thought that was a good comp I came up with.
So Godwin less some of his early athleticism, right?
Yeah, that's what I came up with. All on my
I
own.
like that comp. I think that's a really smart comp. I would agree with it.
Okay, I'm glad you agree. I love you. Round 4 is Tez Johnson from Oregon. 5.
No,
for those who don't know, the comps were Josh's.
Stop.
I always try to take what Josh says when I listen to his pod and feed it back to him, so he has nothing but positivity to say to me and has nothing to battle me on.
But you just said Ted Johnson, so there goes the positive. No,
they had it formal with them. They like him.
He's a great story. He's a wonderful college receiver. I'm not touching an outlier like that. No, move on.
Round 5, someone who you do like and someone who may or may not be in my final predictive mock. Do you want to say his name?
Is it Jalen Lane?
It is Jalen Lane from Virginia Tech.
Yeah. He moves well.
Just
get him the ball. He's one of those. You want him to be a manufactured touch guy. Surprisingly good hands for his size. But he's that Cam Johnson role that the Bucs are still looking for, and hoping Cam Johnson becomes that. But Johnson hasn't been that in his 1 year, and there's been some injury concerns. So, I could see the Bucs taking a 5th round flyer on Lane and saying, okay, now we got 2 guys to fit this role. Let's see who wins the battle.
Literally, he's a more dynamic Cam Johnson and would allow the Bucs to do some creative things on the offensive side of the football. Boom. Round 6, Jordan Watkins out of Ole Miss. I got to speed up. We're only on wide receivers.
I didn't scout him.
All right. Kanata Mumfield out of Pitt is my round 7 guy. I really like him a lot. He's just a tactician as a route runner. He's good.
I didn't get nearly as deep into this draft as you did. I'm at like 160.
All right, let's move on to the trenches. Sorry, I just added all offensive line together because I don't think it's a position the Bucs will really target. There are some guys who I do like that I didn't list as fits for whatever reason or not. I do have their scouting reports off the side, so if the Bucs take them, whatnot. Round 1, I've got Gray Zabel out of North Dakota State. Cody Mock's old running mate. I've heard some things that the Bucs really like him, and that he would not be out of the question in the first round. I can see the path, right? Ben Bredesen re-signed this offseason, but his contract is pretty team friendly. And at the very worst, if Zabel, whatever, if Zabel wins that job, they have a pretty decently paid backup at guard, center, and guard.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing you said there is they have a backup at center and guard. They just have not done a swing interior offensive lineman. They seem to really want to segment the center position. Jason Light puts a priority on that position. I think he sees it differently than guard specifically, and like it's its own position. And he'd rather swing a tackle guard than swing a center guard. So you bring in Zabel, then I think the path to playing time is, eventually taking over for Bredesen, and they can get out of Bredeson's contract next year. I mean, it wouldn't cost them much. But would they be willing? That's a long-term investment. They'd have to love the player to make, and I think a lot of other guys would have to be off the board. Like things would
be like move down scenario. You lose a bunch of guys, not at 19, but guys are off the board. Trade down scenario. You lose a couple of guys. He's there. He's the guy. That type of love, not like we're running up at 19.
So I did something really fun. Was it yesterday? A couple days ago, Ollie Connolly had me on his podcast, and we did this really fun thing. Things you would change about the draft. And it was a really fun podcast. But one of the things I texted him after the fact is I was like, I wish I would have thought of this while we were on the podcast. Something I would love to change. I would love to put the draft in front of free agency.
Yes.
Because, and specifically, I think this is a really good example of that. If the draft was ahead of free agency, I think the Bucs would have been much higher on Gray-Zabel. I think he might lead their board, right? And if they grab Gray-Zabel, then maybe they don't bring back Ben Bredesen. Maybe they take the money they spent on Bredesen and they devote it to a different position. I just think that the team building aspect would be so much cooler if the more uncertain asset acquisition part of the NFL, the draft, do your draft where you're not sure where you, and then build your free agency off of that.
Doesn't the NBA do it like that?
I have no clue. I don't pay attention to the NBA. Is Jordan still playing?
Yes, he plays for the Charlotte Hornets now.
Wow. Okay, cool.
No. Okay. Round 2, Tate Ratledge out of Georgia. Round 3, Emory Jones out of LSU.
Who out of LSU?
Emory Jones.
Didn't get a chance to evaluate.
Tackle, move inside the guard.
Okay.
Jason Lance special.
JL.
Yeah, so he's my third round. So I'll give you a little rundown on him, just so you got something. Jones came in as a true freshman and went on to start 30 straight games at right tackle. He's got a strong anchor and pass protection, using his length and to deliver a shocking punch to defenders. He's a nasty finisher in the run game and is athletic enough to get out in space when pulling and on combo blocks. However, he will likely need to move to guard to the next level to cover up his struggles against outside speed rushers. Jones can also struggle in his recovery and can be late reacting to counter moves. So that's right up on him. Round 4, Logan Brown out of Kansas.
Probably haven't. I'll be honest. If you want to save some time, I probably have not evaluated any of your day 3 offensive linemen.
Perfect. Jackson Slater. Holland Pierce out of Rutgers, big 6'8", 341. He's pretty fun to watch.
Funny enough, I did actually look at Slater. I kind of like Slater. I'm not totally out on Slater.
He's not a tackle the guard. He's a guard.
No, but he's smart. I think he's smart. I think he moves well.
Yeah, Jonah Monheim is the other one from USC. He can play 4 different positions. Probably best bet is at center at the next level.
Can he play any of them well?
He's played them well, yeah, pretty well. Exceptional foot quickness, tremendous.
Any of those positions well.
Tremendous football IQ, is a terrific pass protector. He's durable, 46 career starts, gets out in space on pulls and climbing blocks. Short arms create leverage issues, can lead to him lunging at defenders, struggle with power in defenders, and he isn't a physical finisher in the run game. Wow.
All right, we're halfway home.
Halfway home, we got defensive tackles, and then edge rushers, linebackers, cornerbacks, all the fun stuff. All right, defensive tackles. My round 1
on all of them. Just top 4, like your rounds 1 through 4. Give me those.
I'll give you round 1 through 4. I'm going to give everybody else the round. You can talk about them if you want. Round 1 is Darius Alexander of Toledo. Round 2, Shamar Turner. Shamar Turner out of Texas A&M. Round 3, Omar Norman Lott out of Tennessee. Round 4, Vernon Broughton out of Texas.
Yeah, so Norman Lott's the real interesting one. The question is, because there's not much tape on him as a run defender. I mean, there's a good chance that he's a designated pass rusher at the next level, but an excellent one. You had him as a 3rd rounder. I'd be all for that value, because I think that he comes in and immediately improves the pass rush on the second line. So I
might like my mock tomorrow.
Ooh, all right. I'm all
teaser. Round 4 is Vernon Broughton, the defensive end out of Texas. More of that Logan Hall kind of replacement there. Ty Robinson in the 5th round in Nebraska. I'm sure you're familiar with him. You're familiar with all these guys. Tonka Hemingway out of South Carolina is my round 6 guy. And round 7 guy, who I really like, you probably didn't watch any of him, Junior Tafuna out of Utah, former linebacker. Transition.
Linebacker turned defensive tackle.
6'3", 308. Man,
you are bringing the Locked On NFL draft off-ball defensive tackle to life. I love it. I will talk on Tonka. Finds the ball like that. That's the best thing that I can say in like my scouting notes on him. He just has a way of finding the ball. He's a gap shooter. We had him, I think, in the 7th round of our on Peter Report's 7-round mock draft. It's interesting. You're putting 6th-round guys. They don't have a 6th-round pick. So is that just a hedge if they trade to get one?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. All right. That makes sense.
These are guys who are 6th-round prospects. If they get it, here's a guy they could look at in that round.
Okay. All right. Give me your
edge rushers. The moment everyone's been waiting for. Round 1, Donovan Ezeraku, obviously. We're all really high on him. Round 2, I have Nick Scorton there. He's not my favorite, but the Bucs have shown a lot of interest in him. I personally, in round 2, if they're going to go edge, I like Braden Swinson a lot more. I like Femi Aladejo a lot more.
Yeah. So with regards to Scorton, I didn't get to his 2023 tape. Everybody loves him. That's why they love him. It was his time at Purdue when he was actually like rushing from a wide alignment. When he went to, A&M last year, they brought him inside. He was more of a 5 technique, didn't get to really, push the edge there or win high side. So I evaluated him off his A&M tape. I wasn't a big fan. Guys who have seen him at Purdue, much higher on him. I just didn't get to that tape.
The thing I will say though, even though I feel like he was out of position, he's still really productive in the backfield. I know I think he only had like 30 something pressures, but he made the most of them. Out of those 30 pressures, he had 14 tackles for loss and 5 sacks and 2 forced fumbles. So even though he didn't get that opportunity as much as he did in Purdue, I think at Texas A&M, like if you have 33 pressures, which is what I think he had, and 19 of those go for tackle for loss, sacks, causing different things to happen.
What was the sacks plus quarterback hits? That would be my question. Because the tackle for losses could be a lot on the run plays, which, hey, he's still getting in the backfield.
Yeah, that's true.
The backfield.
I'm just saying, like, he's getting in the backfield. It's not like he wasn't getting in the backfield and whatever. But anyways, moving on from him, I don't like him. Would rather have someone else there. Guy who I've kind of turned on to a little bit here, round 3. He spoke to Justin Mello, who, if you guys don't follow him for the Draft Network, one of the best things going on over there. He does a prospect interview series every year, and slides me some nuggets here and there. Princely Humanalian out of Ole Miss. That Ole Miss defense has so many players coming off of it, but he's a guy that has had a lot of communication, a lot of production in the backfield. He's my 3rd round fit for them.
Yeah, the tape is really, really good. He's probably one of the best pure pass rushers in this draft right now. Is he ever going to be he's kind of like an assassin. Like, he's not a guy you may depend on to be a 3-down, edge for 4 or 5 years. He may flame out after 2 or 3, but they could be 2 or 3 where he's just playing as a designated pass rusher and cleaning up on 20 snaps a game. I think there are some questions with him as to whether he's a long-term fit in a system, but the tape's real fun, man. I mean, he can win. He wins in a lot of ways. He uses his hands well. He can win high side really well. He's got some burst off the line. He was a fun watch.
You're going to talk about a fun watch. Next one up is David Walker in the 4th round out of Central Arkansas.
Yeah, David Walker, a lot of production against a low level of competition. So it's a projection. It's like, how does that translate at the next level? And I want to say, I'm trying to remember because I got to him late and I watched a lot of edges. I want to say like the measurables are not fantastic for him, right? Like real short, right? Like less than 6'1".
Talk about
but then, what's that?
I was just reading in the comments. They were talking about the Desmond from Florida. Get him up there. Talk about a tush push. Golly.
So yeah, with Walker, like he's just got a really weird body shape. Like he's less than 6'1", but then he's over 260 pounds. But he's got short arms, like 5th percentile arm length. What do you do with a guy like that? Like, is that somebody who's genuinely gonna hold up? Like,
no, he's a designated pass rusher, pass rush specialist.
Is that even gonna play at the next level against NFL length and NFL speed? I mean, don't get me wrong. Like you're taking dart throws in the third round. Like if you like the guy and you're betting on he'll do the most with what he's got, sure. But
4th round, no, even better.
Oh, 4th. I mean, that's still day 3.
All right. I got Jared Ivey in the 5th round out of Ole Miss. Another Ole Miss, 2 Ole Miss players here. He's more of that tweener, 5-tech, outside linebacker, stand up, edge rusher type of guy. I don't love the fits, honestly, later in the rounds, dude. 4th round, I'm out on edge rushers. Like, I don't like really any of the guys in the 5th round. My 6th round is Ja Joyner from Minnesota. Again, one of these kind of like, is he a 5-tech? Is he an edge? He can play a little bit of both. What does he do? Like, figure it out and let him go. And then Tyler Barron out of Miami is my 7th round pick. He's more of like a well-rounded edge rusher. Doesn't do anything great, but is productive.
Has Ivy really fallen down the boards that much?
Who?
Ivy? Is he really seeing that low now?
I mean, he's seen, I think I went off Dane, I believe, had him in the 5th round or late 4th. So I just cheated and threw him in there in the 5th. Let me see. Yeah, Jared Ivey's got in the 5th round for Brugler. That's where I have him.
Okay.
No, I don't always go off Brugler's numbers, but like when it's favorable to me, I'll do it. Like that's true. Like, more shots at that board for me, you know. Like, and again, met with all these guys at the combine, whether informal, formal, brought them in for visits, etc. All right, moving back into your favorite position group in this draft, the linebackers. All right, we're doing decent time. We'll be able to get our mock draft into linebackers. 1st round, I got Jihad Campbell. We've talked about him to a blue in the face. Round 2, we have Carson Schwechlinger. We talked about him as well. Round 3, again, I really like Pooh Paul.
Let's go.
I don't think they do. Demetrius Knight Jr. in the 3rd round for me.
Oh, you can buy a beer for some of the other guys.
Talk to me about him.
The frame is great. I think that he's a great kid. I think that the Bucs will probably fall in love with him or probably did fall in love with him in the interviews. He's 25. Easily. Like, and I don't think I think PFF named him as the best coverage backer in this draft. I don't agree with that at all. I think he's real clunky in zone. Like, I don't think that his eyes are real great. I think he's a more athletic KJ Britt. I'm not a huge fan.
Yeah, that's true with you. I think he's better than that. I mean, come on. You pretty much call him Anthony Walker.
What's that?
So you're calling him Anthony Walker?
I think Anthony Walker's way more athletic than much more of a smooth mover, and Walker's smaller than Knight, if I remember correctly.
All right, you want a smooth mover? We got Jeffrey Bossa here in the 4th round.
I like it.
I like that as well. In the 5th round, I got Barrett Carter, who, man, probably should have came out last year, huh? We're going to be a 2nd round pick last year. So screwed that one up. But I do still like him. I think he's really good in coverage. He's even had some snaps in the slot, you know, covering backs and stuff like that out of there and tight ends.
I evaluated, what was it? 19 linebackers, and Carter was 16 for me. So.
Oh, geez. Well, I disagree with you there, but you probably disagree here in round 6.
It's not that I don't think the Bucs might not take him there. I'm not a huge fan of him, you know, myself.
Round 6, I have a guy who you are a huge fan of. Do you want to say his name?
Teddy. Is it Teddy?
Teddy Buchanan out of Cal.
Teddy is linebacker 6 for me.
Linebacker 6. Golly.
Yeah. I'd be willing to take Teddy a lot earlier in the draft.
Round 7 for me is Carson Bruner out of Washington, because when there's a Husky that's draft eligible and late in the draft, I'm going to throw him to him. No, but he's what?
Like Vita Vea, Husky available late in the draft.
But he's had a ton of communication with the Bucs, Zoom visits, met with him extensively at his pro day. He's probably more of a core special teams, but if you need a guy in a pinch, he's got plenty of production. It's just we'll see how he fits at the next level and see if he can carry that over.
If you're talking about guys who have a ton of special teams value, I think Nick Martin.
I like Nick Martin too.
Would be a guy.
I like Nick Martin. I actually had Nick Martin in my last mock draft before I changed him to Teddy Buchanan, because when I went back and looked at him, I just said, no, I think Teddy Buchanan's a better player here.
Yeah,
but I do like Nick Martin from Oklahoma State a lot too.
Yeah, I think the league is going to love both Martin and Buchanan as late down guys. So when you're special teams, fourth down, I just think Buchanan, there's more there.
I agree. Cornerback, outside perimeter cornerbacks, we got Maxwell Harrison, my round one best fit over there. We talked about him. My round two best fit is going to be Siobhan Ravel. Savon.
Say it again. Sorry, there you go. Good job.
Myself. Savon Ravel out of East Carolina.
Savon Revel. It's even on that Revel.
He could be gone by this time, but there is a possibility he could still be here. Obviously, medicals were cleared, but there's still a lot of question marks kind of around him, especially with the 1 year of starting experience. And
who cleared his medicals? When you say medicals were cleared, what do you mean by that?
I heard a report that said he's cleared for like training camp, mini camp, gotcha. OTAs. I can't confirm that because I wasn't told, but I heard that his medical came back clear, and even if I did, couldn't tell you my source. Round three again, will he be there? Will he not be? I don't know. He could be there, but just because he had his pro day on Monday and showed some good fluidity in his hips and stuff like that. They've always been kind of tight. 2 hip surgeries. You want to talk about injuries? 2 hip surgeries, shoulder injury, shoulder surgery. He's had 4 surgeries in the past 4 years, but he's a really good player if he can stay healthy and if he can go. Benjamin Morrison out of Notre Dame is my guy in the 3rd round. Again, could go in the 1st round, could go in the 2nd round, could go in the 3rd round.
I don't think he goes in the 1st. I absolutely don't think he goes in the 1st. John Ledger. John loves him.
Trevor just took him in the 1st round in his mock today, his final mock. You traded back
for what team?
For the Bucs. Traded back with the Rams at 26 and took him at 26. Yeah. Will Johnson. I'm not a big Will Johnson fan. I see his name in the. So who is Josh a fan of? Buccaneer Bryce. Welcome to my life.
I do have Morrison 1 spot ahead of him.
Barely a fan of me. Barely a fan of me. I don't know how I get him on this.
If anybody wants it, so my tier 1 corner is Travis Hunter. Tier 2, I've got Barron.
Don't ruin the big board that comes out tomorrow.
I do. Yeah, Barron. I've got Savon Revel. Revel. And Will Johnson is my tier 2. Trey Amos is almost in my tier 2, but he's tier 3. Damian Porter is tier 4. And then tier 5, I have Justin Wally out of Minnesota, Benjamin Morrison, Maxwell Hairston, and Azarai Thomas. And that's all to say, I don't love this corner class a whole lot.
Well, you're not going to love this one because he's not in any of those tiers. Round 4 is Noah Williams out of Cal.
Yeah, he's in the next tier for me.
Round 5 is Bihal Cohn out of Western Michigan.
Didn't evaluate him.
All right. Well, he's had some good communication with the Bucs. They were in attendance at his pro day. In fact, they were running his position drills at his pro day. Let me give you a little rundown on him because 5th round, you should probably know that. Cohn has good height and speed for the position and has great instincts and timing when playing the ball. He displays excellent range, advanced route recognition skills, and awareness in zone coverage. He's composed and patient and press, shows good body control and phase, and uses his length to contest at the catch point. On the flip side, he has inconsistent footwork when redirecting quickly. He doesn't have elite recovery speed, and refined route runners will be able to create separation. Had 70 tackles, 1 for a loss, 9 pass breakups, interception last year.
You keep saying guys have good communication with the Bucs, and that just makes me think, like, what does bad communication with the Bucs look like? Like, I almost feel like you have some type of app on your phone where you tap.
Ryan Neal was on the team.
And you're like, man, they just told that kid to fuck off. That's bad communication.
Just go watch Ryan Neal's tape from 2023, and then you'll see bad communication.
Wow.
I'm not gonna hold back.
Ryan Neal out here catching strays.
Hey, he was on the team last year, so he can catch a stray. It's not like it's 2 years old. Zah Frazier in the 6th round from UTSA, a guy who I really like as the developmental guy.
That's your Zion-esque pick. Yes. Yeah.
Yes. And then local kid, you're not going to like this, but Bailey Wood, UCF corner, BJ Adams in the 7th round. Again,
7th round makes sense to me.
There's like no USF players in here, so I don't know.
You don't have to say that out loud. All of their best players are coming back. That's why.
Hey, technically, if I had to like pick a team versus geographical location, your favorite player in this draft would be the one that's closest to where I grew up. So,
who dat?
BC, baby, Boston College.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the.
I always pictured you as more of a Harvard man.
Harvard. No, I don't. We don't watch college football up north because we just win with our regular teams most of the time, so we don't have time to pay attention to that. Round 1, nickel corners. We've got Jade Barron, who we talked about at the beginning of the show. Go back and listen if you're joining now, because it's worth your while. He's got a lot of great stuff to say about him. Josh is very knowledgeable. Round 2. I was just a little wink right there. Jacob Parrish out of Kansas State. But I also know what
little rich on just in terms of like the draft placement for Parrish, 2nd round.
I mean, some people think he's going late 2nd, early 3rd. You know?
Well, if they think that, then they also think that this is a shit corner class.
It is a shit corner class, but I have also heard that just because I have him in this area here as a round 2 slot corner, he's 5'9", 191, but the team thinks he can play some outside too. So interesting to me. Round 3, Quincy Riley out of Louisville. He's shot up the boards. Or what?
Can't tackle.
He's not good in run support. But he's shot up the boards recently. I really like him too. He's feisty little player. Great ball skills.
Ball production. Yep. Got the ball production.
Right, yeah, 54 pass breakups and 55 games, 15 picks, 2 for pick sixes. My round 4 guy is Kobe Bryant out of Kansas. Another guy I like him. Go ahead, say it.
He plays like Black Mamba. Like he has the demeanor of a guy 30 pounds heavier, and plays to his strength. Like he absolutely. He's got that alpha personality that usually works well. I think the other day I was talking with Scott, I think on on the Pewter Report podcast, and I comped him in terms of mentality. He could bring the gravedigger mentality back to the Bucs secondary that they kind of lost when they traded away Carlton Davis. Like, you know, Jamel Dean's a sweetheart, or Zion's a sweetheart. Jamel Dean is aloof. Winfield is kind of cerebral. You don't have that guy who's like, we're dogs.
Like he's quiet.
Yeah. So I think Kobe, if he were to be picked by the Bucs, I think he brings a mentality that room could use. What's that?
He's such a shit talker too.
That's what I'm saying, right? Like, I mean, this would absolutely call back to the days of CD3 getting on Twitter and just telling Michael Thomas, like, I'm your dad.
Slam boy. Going back to round 5, we're going back to UCF with Mac Williams here. I hate
it. I hate Bailey Adams. I hate it. Move.
Here's a guy you like, Justin Wally in the 6th round out of Minnesota.
I think he might be off the board by then, but I love the tape.
Could be a little earlier than that, but also there's some negatives to his game too. That could still be there. Who knows? This is one of these things. Round 7 is Jalen Smith out of USC. Again, some interest there.
Good communication with the Bucs.
Yes, good communication with the Bucs. You know what's funny? Wally hasn't really had some communication with the Bucs, but I just think he kind of looks like someone that they'd go after.
Fair enough.
Or known communication, I should say.
I think Wally can play outside.
Yeah, he can do both. I think he can play a little safety too.
I didn't see any of that, but
I don't know. I'm not sure. There's one quarterback who played a little safety too. We're in the safeties. Malachi Starks is my round one guy. I think he might be the pick tomorrow. In the first round. On my round two guys, Xavier Watts. If he's not, I would love Xavier Watts. Really high on him. Like him a lot. You want to talk about a ball hawk? He's a ball hawk. There's some things that he needs to fix. Run defender, he's not that great. He'll outrun plays. His hips are a little bit stiff in his back pedal, and especially in his transition. But you can't deny the playmaking ability. My round three guy is your number one safety on the board here for you is Kevin Winston Jr. out of Penn State.
Woo, buddy, let's go.
Yeah, I put Winston's a throwback to the hard-hitting safeties of yesteryear. And if you look at the picture I use, he is absolutely crushing a guy.
Best safety in the class.
Tell me if I'm off with this. You like him so much. I said Winston's a throwback to the hard-hitting safeties of yesteryear as an elite run defender and tackler. He can run with tight ends and big slots and man coverage and has the versatility to play both safety spots and fill in as a big nickel. However, he still needs work in diagnosing plays and has just 1 year as a starter. There are also question marks around his injury. While he displays good closing bursts to make plays on the ball, he doesn't have elite ball skills.
So I don't love him in the slot as much. I think he's much better at diagnosing plays than you mentioned. Well, but the diagnosing, like I'll disagree with you on that. I think he's actually excellent at diagnosing plays. He's got a real active eyes to keep to basically balance between looking in the backfield and keeping an eye on route development in front of him. I think he's an excellent communicator and he helps get the defense set, which I think would be a huge boon for the Bucs specifically, because Todd Bowles talked about last year, communication issues plagued the defense all year long. He does this really interesting thing, as Ollie, who put me onto it. He's like the only safety you'll see. He gets set at the post and there's a ref in front of him, like obscuring his view into the backfield. And he'll actually move the ref. He'll be like pre-snap. He's like, I need you over here so I can see better. And I think that just goes to his IQ, the cerebral nature of the game. I think if he can stay healthy, I would put money on him being the best safety in this class.
I like him a lot. I've liked him a lot throughout this whole process. Another guy who I like a lot, Andrew Makuba. I didn't put him on the board because I don't think the Bucs will like him, but I really liked him. He's just a fun player, a fun watch. Let me just put this to bed real quick, Sean. Sean says we also have two players we use as trade bait. Rachaad White, as much as he would probably like it, is not going to get traded unless someone comes over the top, offers like a third-round pick, your original value that you got from him, early fourth maybe. I don't think the Bucs are moving on from him. You don't have anyone on the roster that can replace him in pass pro. And while Bucky is shown to be a good receiving back, even if you draft one, they're still not going to bring you the guaranteed and proven production that Rachaad White can bring you there. So I don't know who you're referencing to the other person as trade bait.
I think people still believe Jamel Dean's getting traded.
Oh yeah, Jamel Dean's not.
That would be my guess.
Stop. Anyways, back to it. My fourth round safety here is Jonas Sanker out of Virginia. We just bonded over our love of him last night.
Jonas Sanker.
Sorry, I haven't looked at all the.
I love Sanker. I'm a lot higher on him than most. I've got him as safety 3. So Winston's 1, Sanker's 3 for me, and Starks and Ammon Warrior not 2. So I love Sanker. If you get him, what round did you have him in?
4.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get Winston 3rd, that's ideal. Sanker in the 4th is almost as great in terms of value. Sanker is a throwback. Like, he just loves hitting stuff, and he's constantly he's smart. Like, again, very similar to Winston. So you can see kind of what I like in a safety there, but just real smart. He's constantly trying to get his teammates in the right position. He's making up for mistakes that others are making. I think that the hips are a lot more fluid than most people think. He is a guy I think that you could put in the slot or in the box, like move him around a little bit, not single high on the post, but he can do split safety stuff. Just real smart. He's great in zone, can stay connected early in the route. He gets a little bit exposed if he's in the slot and somebody goes vertical. But but I would love him in the 4th.
Yeah, I got that vertical routes. I put a aggressive downhill safety who has the speed and man coverage skills to stick with receivers and tight ends. Plays with great route anticipation and man coverage, and reads the quarterback's eyes well in zone. Displays excellent timing and burst to break on the ball, has active hands to shed blockers and run support. He'll need to clean up his pursuit angles and tackling technique. He likes to go for big hits. Who can blame him? Can get caught peeking in the backfield and will bite on play action at times, leaving him out of position. He has athletic limitations that will show up on vertical routes, like you just said, and he'll have trouble defending bigger physical tight ends. But I really like him as a player. Another guy who I want to know your thoughts on this guy because you definitely watched him, whether you wanted to or not. But Jalen Reed is my round 5 guy out of Penn State. What were your thoughts after watching him? Or did you watch him? Or did you just kind of watch him while you were watching?
No, I watched. I was not a big fan. Like,
really?
I think that, I don't love the athleticism, like the in-game athleticism for him. I think he's clunky. I think he has to read it, like see it, read it before he reacts to it. He did a good job of trying to fill in for Winston. For me, he's always going to be more of like a depth, the 53rd man on the roster. You're always trying to upgrade. I don't think the IQ and the instincts make up for the lack of athleticism.
With that. I thought that I agree with the athleticism, but I thought that he showed that he could understand offensive alignments, communicate with his teammates, and put them in the right spots, much like Winston did. And
pre-snap, that's fine. I think post-snap, it's the instincts.
It's the post-snap, yeah.
And the ability to see stuff happen before it happens and react early to it, to be where the ball
in coverage sometimes. So he'll get lost. I have that. He gets lost, and he's not going to be a good single high defender. But I do like him. Another guy, I mean, just got two guys here. I don't know, should have had Scott on. Marquez Sigle from Kansas State in the 6th round. Do you watch him at all?
I did not. I know he's got like blazing speed.
4.37,
Probably somebody who can match up in the nickel well, from what I've seen from other reports. But I didn't get a chance to get eyes on him.
Yeah. And then my final guy was JJ Roberts.
He's the only safety, I think, outside of Starks that the team made contact, right?
Well, they had some foremost. Starks wasn't brought in. He's the only one that was brought in, actually, which is interesting. Michael Pless, I agree with that statement right there wholeheartedly. Been one of my faves for a while. Big fan.
What is the statement? I can't see it. If it is that Anthony Nelson can play a little bit inside and take over some Will Golston snaps, tell Pless that he needs to come take up for me on the Twitter.
All right, let's run through this mock draft here. We'll do it quickly. We're not going to do any trades or anything like that.
All right. Oh, we're going to do a live mock. Oh,
we're going through it, man. We've talked about all these prospects.
The syllabus.
So when it comes up, we're ready to go, man. Like, we don't need to talk about these prospects. We already talked about them all here. Let's just run through this.
Do I get all the picks, or are we going back and forth? Is this okay?
Take all the picks, my man.
Make all the picks. All right.
My mock is coming out tomorrow, so I don't need to do this exercise. This is all for you, my friend.
Can you filter for punter?
Let's go.
All right.
Come on.
All right. So, what? All right. Is Ezraku on the board?
Ezraku is not on the board. He went 14 to the Colts. Jahad Campbell 15. Jahdae Barron 16. Jalen Walker 10. Shedeur Sanders went to the Jets. That's interesting.
Right. Can you scroll down just a little bit? I just want to see. I think I know who I want it to be. Yeah, none of these guys. All right, so Egbuka. Let's go Egbuka.
Egbuka, is he here? Yes. Let's go Emeka Egbuka in the 1st round. Love the pick. Would not be mad at all. Like it a lot.
Top 12 player on my board.
Plus did say that Nelson should play defensive line. Agree, Josh.
Thank you. Go get my mentions on Twitter.
You're on
Trey
the clock.
Amos.
Oh, you know what? Oh, Trey Amos, what?
Yeah, Amos just went. I was hoping he might have fallen.
Yeah, shoulda, woulda, coulda. It's not gonna fall to 53. No way. No way. No way. What am I, Captain Johnny Hammersticks?
Winston, let's go. Don't even need to see anything else. Winston, keeping Tyke in the slot, helping to beef up the secondary.
Kevin
Love
Winston off the board. Off the board. I like Kevin Winston a lot. Mike Green is not on the Bucs board. I don't believe. I can't say for sure certain, but I don't believe he's going to be on their board. I mean, very not high, third, fourth round, whatever, maybe, if he's there. Same thing with James Pierce Jr. Don't believe he's going to be on that board either. Here's one. Isaiah Bond is not on the Bucs board either. Just so you know.
All right. Chris Paul's there. Let's go. I was about to say CJ West. I love West. I absolutely love West, but if Paul's on the board, I'll take Paul.
All right, Chris Paul. We're flying through this mock, and you know what? I freaking love it. Emeka Egbuka, Kevin Winston Jr., Chris Paul Jr. You got potential starters in all three of those spots right there, coming right off the board. Oh, too bad we took Kevin Winston, but not really because he's an amazing player.
I don't care. I'll take. No, I'm not going to take Senker. All right, so let's filter for corner. Although I'm probably not going to like anybody. Oh, never mind. Never mind. There's somebody I might like. Let's look at defensive line. And let's look at edge. Corner. All three. Just put all three in the filter. Corner, defensive line, and edge.
DI.
All right.
I couldn't
Wally.
get into
Yeah, I like Wally there.
Okay. Justin Wally off the board of the Bucs. They get that versatile outside, inside cornerback there. Tell them why you like him.
With Wally, he's just very smart.
Egbuka would likely jump McMillan, and he'd probably be your wide receiver 3. So McMillan would be wide receiver 4, which a third-round pick is a great spot for a wide receiver 4 that can be versatile and be your wide receiver 3. So let's not think that. Let's not forget McMillan was just a third-round pick last year. He's not in a very deep wide receiver draft.
The other thing that I love is the Bucs fan base just saw the team lose Evans and Godwin just last year for a month.
Does nobody have PTSD from that?
Cade Otton was the passing offense, and obviously McMillan made a little bit of a jump, but there are certain areas of your roster you just can't have enough players, and I think wide receiver is kind of one of them.
The Chiefs game, right. Sterling Shepard was wide receiver 1. Ryan Miller caught the game-tying touchdown. Like, come on, guys.
All right, let's filter for defensive line. Let's look at running back, just for fun.
You want to look at edge, or are you out on edge after the 4th round?
You can look at edge, but I don't love the day 3 edge group usually.
Tyler Barron's the only guy I would consider. Dang, we're tough luck for even defensive linemen right here. Tonka's here in the 5th. I have him more of a 6th. Wow, Deanna Walker has fallen off the board.
What else? So scroll back up. Do you have running back and tight end in here? Take DB out.
Not tight end, but running back was in there. Yes, tight end. Mitchell Evans is available for tight end. That wasn't there. Thomas Vidone, Nebraska kid, probably the best hands in the class. Jake Briningstool's there. Jackson Hawes, if you want a blocker.
Man, I don't like any of this.
Quavius Marks. I'll just go.
No, the defensive tackle you were talking about earlier.
Junior Tafuna?
Yeah, that one.
You can get him in the 7th, though.
Fine. All right. Look at. Gosh.
You want to look at line?
Just go to all. Let me see here. No, you know what? I know who I want. Find Teddy Buchanan should not be off the board. Let's go with Buchanan. Double up on linebacker.
Teddy Buchanan.
There you go.
Don't mind if I do. John will be very happy.
Really?
I
don't know if he likes Buchanan.
He'll just be happy that they're just 2 linebackers.
I don't know if John likes any linebackers.
I like Devin Culp the next. He was one of the first rookie I had on my podcast last year. Very much so like Devin Culp, like what he can bring as a move tight end. He's not a lock. Cole Keith's not a lock. Hell, Payne Durham's probably not even a lock if they can upgrade in the draft.
Tight end is probably one of the positions that easiest to
Easy.
upgrade. All right, 7th round. You know these day 3 guys better than I do. You should make this pick.
What do you want? You want a nickel cornerback? You want a defensive lineman? Is Junior Tafuna still on the board? You're interested in him? Oh, he's gone.
I mean, defensive line or edge. If there's anybody. Oh, Thor Griffith. Yeah,
Thor.
I like.
You're a big fan of Thor.
I like.
Let's go with Thor.
There you go. Boom. Super Bowl.
Boom.
Super Bowl. Going 4 wide
in football. That's what Maryland does.
Going 4 wide on the offensive side of the ball to make sure that those McMillan lovers can still see him on the field. Look at that.
It looked like we might have a good one.
It's a good
B
draft.
for Agbuka, A+ for Kevin Winston Jr., A- for Chris Paul. Justin Wally gave us a B. Teddy Buchanan brought us down to an F. Thor Griffith with a C in the 7th round, 235. Who gives a shit, man? We got an overall draft grade of a B+. He's like, oh, you took him 5 spots before he should have been drafted. Come on, PFF. I'll talk to Trevor about this. If you guys could screenshot this in the back, just like take a screenshot, whatever, so we can post this up, see what people think of Josh's mock draft. That'd be awesome. I appreciate that. But that is going to do it for us. Man, we went a marathon, hour and 30 minutes. I did not expect. I've got comments over here in the from my producers probably telling me to get off. I've been looking at your comments. I appreciate everyone that's been with me this month. I mean, we went balls to the wall. We had drafts 3 to 4 times a week. We're doing shows this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'll have a reaction show tomorrow, Friday, Saturday. We're going 6 days in a row. Appreciate everyone for being here. Appreciate everyone taking the time out of their night to come spend it with me. And of course, my buddy Josh here. Like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Guys, if you're on Twitter, please pop over. Even if you plan on watching on Twitter, please like, subscribe. I mean, like and subscribe. You don't even need to turn on notifications. Just like and subscribe, please. Please. Anyone listen to this in podcast format after this, appreciate you guys. I love the love you guys give me. If you're free tomorrow night around 10:30, 10:45 when after the Bucs make their pick, hop on, give me your instant reactions, tell me what you think. We'll be live on here at some point. Otherwise, catch us live on a Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern. We're here every week. New in the current. And tomorrow, Plus is in here. Real Bucs Talk live stream tomorrow through the draft. I'll be popping in after the Bucs pick. Josh will be dialing in, I'm sure, wirelessly for the Bucs draft show, the Pewter Report draft show, which I got to pop in there on day 3 last year, and it just brought back all the feels and memories. So there's going to be tons of great content going around. Open up multiple phones, computers, check it all out because everyone's going to bring some great stuff. I know Plus is specifically got some clips that he's going to show tomorrow after the picks, whoever that selection is. So if you want that draft breakdown, with some video and stuff, check out his stuff at RBT Real Bucs Talk. If you're looking for just pessimistic views on whatever the pick is, go check out Josh over there. No, he's great. But yeah, that's going to do it for us. I'll appreciate you guys so much for tuning in again. Josh, go ahead. Tell them where you're at. Tell them what's going on. You got a big board coming out, right?
So Bucs content, Pewter Report, writing over there. Obviously, I've been for a few years. Trying to do some videos as well. I think I'll probably have a few videos going up after their picks this weekend. If you are interested in the football beyond the Bucs, Substack, the NFL according to Q, it's much more contract based. Looking at the league overall, we started a podcast over there. My partner and I, Kyle, our first couple of episodes were on offensive tackles who could be getting extensions this offseason. Luke Gedeke was one of the players that we discussed. We were going to do cornerbacks last week, but with everybody in draft mode, we decided to pause. We're going to pick it back up next week. So we'll look at some cornerbacks who could be getting extensions here in the near future, and we'll continue to go position by position over the offseason. And then something kind of cool recently, been featured on the Read Optional, Ollie Connolly's website. I've got an article up there going over my draft tiers and kind of why I tier them the way I do, and more of a results-based tiering in terms of outcomes that are pretty consistent year over year. And then Ollie and I just did a really fun podcast on the Read Optional where we discussed what would you change about the draft. So we looked at, not giving the worst team the best pick, but inverting the non-playoff teams. So if you are the best team in the NFL that didn't make the playoffs, you get the first overall pick. That was one of the ideas that was floated. We talked about a snake draft for all of you fantasy guys. How would that look like in the NFL? Could that work? We discussed taking away the draft as we know it and doing not auction, but every team gets a draft pool, which is kind of similar to baseball.
Right.
But the pools would be dependent upon your how well you performed the year before. So whoever won the Super Bowl has the smallest pool, so they can't outbid everybody. Whoever had the worst record has the biggest pool, so they can try and win with dollars. So that was one of our ideas. We talked about a developmental league. So just a really fun podcast. Ollie and I had a bunch of fun, got some really good feedback on it. So you can subscribe to Ollie's Substack. I think it's $5 a month, if I remember correctly, for him. My Substack's $5 a month. I think I did a better job selling his than I did selling my own.
Yeah, I want to go listen to that now.
Par for me. So that's where you can find a lot of my content. But if you just love the Bucs, Pewter Report, man. That's where you can find me.
Yeah, it does awesome stuff over there. Came in as off the street, as a listener, as a reader, and now has developed into the go-to guy for Cap and one of the go-to guys for film breakdown and analysis here in Tampa Bay. So proud of where you came from, man. It's been awesome to see. Certainly can't wait to get into some more of your stuff, especially when we start talking about cornerbacks, because Zion McCollum could be
one of the players we profile.
So excited for that as well. Appreciate everybody in here. Go check out my best bets. I'm going to put them all in one thing. So you got my best fits, so you can see them all in one spot and not to click each individual one. But if you'd like to, it's just going to be a link that's going to bring you to them. So whatever you want to do. But I'll have my mock draft out tomorrow morning. I'm toying with some of the draft intel I have, putting out an article on that because I do have some good information I think that people would be interested in. We'll see if that comes out. I don't know. I just got to see how much I can divulge and get away with. But that's going to do it for us here at the Pirate Parlay Podcast on the Sick Podcast Network. I'm your host, JC Allen, for Josh Capo of Pewter Report, my co-host tonight. Appreciate you guys. Thank you much. Draft is tomorrow.
Mañana.
Let's go. All this hard work we've been doing, finally get to see some results and watch them pick, knowing that we've really scouted. So appreciate you guys for tuning in to another edition of the Pirate Parlay Podcast here on the Sick Podcast Network. We're out of here. Peace out.
See ya.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Pirate Parlay on YouTube, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.